Human beings have been trying to reach out the nature from start time, bringing nature's indoor and outdoor, especially plants, have a very strong positive influence on your home. Are you designing your first garden or rehabbing an outdoor space you inherited when you bought a house? Good for you, gardens make our lives better. They improve air quality, invite us into the sun and shade, shelter us from wind and rain, and soothe with us visually relaxing natural tones of green and brown. But when you are designing a landscapes, where do you start? I have rounded up suggestions from landscape architects and designers. I sure these designs going to help you a lot in creating your amazing landscape designs. Do you want the layout of your garden be based on Western traditions with straight lines, rectangles, and symmetry? Based on the Eastern traditions of irregular shapes, curves, and materials such as waters, rock, and gravel to symbolize the natural world. Once you understand the principles, you will have the confidence to bend the rules and mix elements from both. Historically, all gardens were designed with one of three goals in mind: road landscapes. Designers like to raise food, to create living space, or to be visually pleasing. Ask yourself, what purpose do you want for your garden to accomplish? With the answers in mind, you can design a space that does double duty, mixing ornaments and edibles in a single planting bed for intents. Visually define the boundaries of your garden. When you define the boundaries of a space, you give the eye something to focus on. A fence in the distance, clarifying where the parameters are, creates a sense of order. Every piece of the land has its own distinct set of features: sunny areas, shade, change in elevations, windy spots, existing trees, mature shrubs, and soil conditions that may not match your neighbors. Get to know your properties, microclimates, and topography. Test your soil to see if it's acidic or study its composition. Is it sandy and loose or heavy and clayish? The more you know about the personality of your property, the better advantage you can take of its best traits. Don't be shy about capitalizing on the love lines that surround your lands. Does your neighbors have a magnificent tree that turns bright red in autumn? Incorporate board beauty in your own landscape to make your garden feel more expansive. Don't block the view with a high fence. You can lay out a path that's as narrow as 18 inches in a tight space, but the wider the path, the more spacious the garden will feel. A 48-inch wide path, if you have the space, will allow two people to walk side by side. You can also experiment. Lay out a path that narrows and widens, or add a curve to create visual interest. What plants will be happiest in your garden? Native plants are an obvious choice. Also plants that you notice are happy in your neighbors. So visit your neighbor gardens as well to see what type of plants has been used for their gardens. You can also select these plants for your gardens and backyard landscaping too. Remember that your own garden has microclimates of sun and shade, and site plants accordingly. You have to keep that point in your mind. When planting a tree, consider the size and shape it will be at maturity. The saddest thing in a garden is a tree with branches hacked off because it got too big for its locations. Give a tree plenty of space to grow as high and wide as it wants, and you and future generations will end up with a beautiful specimen. We know that garden brings very pleasing effects on our home and on our lives. So I sure these landscaping ideas going to help you for selecting and creating a amazing landscape for your own project. So get the inspiration from these designs and Start with your landscaping as soon as possible.